Well, another word that you use in your book is patronizing, which really resounded with me, because I've seen a lot of that sort of arrogant, patronizing attitude with many donors. And I think the most shocking statement you make, which is really sort of unsayable, so I will say it because you said it in your book, is you said you think that a lot of the approaches to Africa are treating Africans like children. Mm-hmm. That's really a shocking thing to say. What do you have in mind when you say that? That's very bold and shocking.
I don't know.
And
it's
courageous,
funny.
Actually.
I often, when I hear these comments about my book, I kind of turn around and say, "Are you sure you're talking about this book? Because it seems to me quite obvious."
The word "children" is in there. Believe me.
Yes, no, I know that's in there, but I just don't think. I think that it's probably not as surprising. I think many Africans would probably agree and say, actually, it's true. Actually, there is this sentiment. I'm going to throw in a quip that somebody said to me. A Nigerian friend of mine said, Dambisa, why are you bothering with all of this? They said, Africa is to development as Mars is to NASA. We spend a lot of money, billions of dollars studying it, traveling there in different fashions, doing this analysis, writing lots of papers. He said, but at the end of the day, nobody actually really believes that we'll live on Mars. And nobody actually ever really believes that Africa will develop. And I thought that was quite tragic, but it really sort of encapsulated this view that African leaders are kind of just sitting there, hanging around, waiting to be told what to do. And part of that relationship, I think, comes from the fact that they are the junior partner in the development sphere. It's no accident that, if I polled you now and asked you to name 3 African presidents, or even perhaps just one African president who you could say, this African president has got a very clear agenda in terms of the future of the continent. Out of 50-odd countries, I'm sure we would struggle in this room. And, you are clearly a much more enlightened bunch in this area. So I do think that Africans, our policymakers, are treated as children. And it's not to say that it's the fault of foreign Western donors. I think that African governments also have a role to play in that. They've allowed the situation where they sort of entertain everyone, the celebrity culture coming in and photo ops, and they allow themselves to be sort of belittled, I would say. And I think we all have a responsibility to say, well, this doesn't make sense. Have you nothing better to do, Mr. President of Zambia or President of Kenya? Don't you have something to say about the fact that your country has the largest slum in Africa? Don't you have something to say about the fact that your country is 70 or 80% dependent on aid, as many African countries, as many countries in Africa are? So I do think that is the case, yes.